Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Queen Elle from QueenElle79. Please forgive the sound of my voice. It sounds quite froggy this evening, and I have somewhat been under the weather for the past couple of weeks. And there's a deeper, more spiritual reason that I suspect. So please look forward to a video on that in the upcoming weeks. However, I'm still feeling blessed as usual and just happy that you're here to join me today and on my journey and the journey that we have together because of our paths crossing. So, today's video, as the subject details, is about the spring equinox, and that will take place this year on the night of Thursday, March 19th, 2020. So this spread is just to focus on renewal, and especially with all of the chaos that's going on around us in the world, it is really important that we still stay grounded and stay centered, and we continue with those meditative practices that we've been doing on our own, and that we stay connected to source, we stay connected to our spirit guides, to our ancestors, to the angels, whomever you draw your source of strength and inspiration and guidance from. It's important that you stay connected to those sources. So without further ado, we'll get started with today's spread. And this is a spread that I got from Incandescent Tarot. So please feel free to check that out. And again, this spread is focusing on this spring season coming up, and also just on renewal overall. So I'm really excited about that. I'm using a new deck, so you will see a video very soon, possibly this weekend. Um, Maybe the beginning of next week. We'll see how it goes. But I do have a new deck, so I'm very excited to share it with you. It is called Modern Witch. It is a full tarot deck with 78 cards, and this is by Lisa Sturl. So she is a comedian by trade, but someone who really tapped into her illustrative gifts and decided to share them with the tarot world. So these cards, I've gone through several of them, and I really like them. They are very vibrant with the color scheme that has been chosen. They're very inclusive. There are a lot of women in this deck, and as a woman, that brings me so much joy. So again, look forward to an unboxing video on this deck. So again, this is the one that I'm using, and this is what the guidebook looks like for this one. And as you can see, this is the Ten of Swords. And there's an additional card in this deck, and it's called Everything. Don't want to say the wrong thing. Everything is fine. And it represents the Ten of Swords, or it's one that you can replace for the Ten of Swords, but it says everything is fine underneath the lady that you see here representing the image that's on this card. So this is what the cards look like. So it's just to give you a brief little show, but to get a bit more in depth and to dig a bit more into the cards, definitely check out that video. So like I said, it'll be coming up soon. But this is what the cards look like. They all have the MW moniker on them. So I've already centered myself. I've already tapped into the deck. I broke the deck in. And if you want to see a video on how I break a new deck in, then please check out my video on my first deck, which is the Universal Weight deck. So please feel free to check that out. I will link that video. So now without further ado, we'll get into this spread. So the first question is, with regard to spring, it's seed, something you've planted in the hopes of growth. Okay, so this is a seed that you've planted in the hopes of growth. Okay. Ooh, this is the Three of Swords. Okay, so I know that this, and you can see the imagery, like I was saying, on these cards as we go along. So the Three of Swords, I know that this card is symbolic of hard times, of heartbreak, as the card suggests with the heart. You see the daggers or the swords going straight through the heart, and you see the clouds and the rain. So these are hard times. Well, depending on what the topic is of a reading, I like to obviously channel from the source on what the card is saying to me in that moment. So it won't always say the same thing with regard to this spring spread and with regard to the question specifically, or the topic for this particular card being a seed, something you've planted in the hopes of growth. The way that I look at this is with a sense of optimism. So any type of heartbreak or turmoil that you've been dealing with emotionally, in that emotional realm, please know that it's been recognized. And so the seed that you've planted, as far as just how you've been feeling emotionally with that heartbreak, whatever it is that's going on with you emotionally, um, it has been recognized by the ancestral world. So the seed has been planted. So this is the seed. Now, the second one is water, what you need to do to cultivate it. And so, just to elaborate a bit more on this one, so the seed again is not turmoil or heartbreak. The seed is the hopes of getting over this turmoil or heartache, okay? And the water, the way that you've watered that seed, what you need to do to cultivate it. The Six of Swords. That's a great one. Great one. So, again, you'll be able to see this imagery if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite tarot deck, the Universal Waite tarot deck. Then you know what they typically look like, what the images look like. So you see a woman that is steering this boat, and with the Six of Swords, even though we see some movement in the water and we see the swords, which could have sometimes a negative connotation, with this card represents is um, a new beginning. You're moving away from something that didn't serve you. So for this one in particular, what you need to do to cultivate it, you need to move away from what no longer serves you. Whatever you know, tap into your own intuition. You know what has, even if you don't know what has led you to the heartbreak, pardon me, even if you don't know what has led to the heart, excuse me, what has led to the heartbreak, you do know what brings you joy. And so, in order to tap into the memories, the things that make you happy, bring you joy, bring you solace, that's what you need to move toward. Leave those things behind you that bring you that turmoil and cause you such sadness and pain. Pardon me. Looks like I've replaced the bewitched nose with this. Forgive me. So, um, but just move toward the things that cause you joy, bring you happiness, and turn away from those things that bring you sadness. Now, I do know that it's easier said than done. So as we go through this spread, we will tap into some of the ways that you can work through it, because believe me, I have been there. I have been there more times than I would like to count, more times than I would like to remember. And I know that you may even have all of the tools and the resources. You may know, okay, so this is what I need to do. I need to execute it this way, this way, this way. These are the steps I need to take to see myself on the other side of this. However, when you're in the midst of that thing, whatever it is, sometimes it's so hard just to even get out of the bed in the morning. I have been there. You don't know how you're going to emotionally make it through the day with your sanity, with your peace. But I'm here to tell you that you will. I pulled a card for myself I wanted the first card I pulled from this deck to be, because I just got this deck just a couple of days ago, but I wanted the first card to be a personal card for me, and I pulled the Sun. And I was so excited when I saw that card because it was just a renewal. It just, you know, further resonated with me what I'm already feeling. We're all on the verge of especially considering what's going on. Look for a video from me with regard to my take on this pandemic that we're experiencing right now, and how we, especially the intuitive community, how we can tap into our own intuition and not turn it into something negative where it can consume us emotionally and spiritually, but how we can continue to stay grounded and centered to um, be that light, that beacon of light for everyone else and for each other and for ourselves. We can draw from each other, and just the collective can continue to um, just stay positive through all of this. So for that Six of Swords, it's just saying to keep focusing. It's all about your perspective. Keep focusing on where you need to go. You already know what you need to do. You already know you have it inside of you. You have it within you. Keep striving toward it, no matter how long it takes. It may not seem like it's even possible, but keep your focus on it, your energy, and you will make it to the other side of that. Okay, so the third one is bloom. So we started with the seed that has been planted. We are watering that seed, we're cultivating it, and now we want to see it bloom. So this is how it will blossom in your life in the near future, okay? How it will blossom in the near future. So let's see. All right. Nine of Swords. Looks like there's a theme. I promise you, I've gone through this whole deck individually and separated these cards. This is apparently the theme of this spring renewal. And again, like I said, it's exciting. There's a progression. If you are familiar with the minor arcana, there are those four suits: the swords, the pentacles, the wands, and the cups. And the swords, well, all of them have a progression from one onward. And this, as you see, we've gone from 3, 6, 9. The progression is building strength, building momentum. And so now, like I said, instead of looking at some of these cards as a negative, because depending on the reading, depending on the topic, there may be a negative, um, and not necessarily negative. I don't like to look at it as negative or positive. I like to look at it as a lesson, an opportunity, something to gain knowledge from and strength from with regard to every card. I don't look at any of the cards as a negative, or as um, coming from some evil place. So these are progressing 3, 6, 9. So now we're at the Nine of Swords. You see a lady, and there we go with that inclusion again, that diversity. I love seeing the different hues of our melanin, and just different representation of different ladies, because we're all women, you know? And so, again, I just love to see that. So, for this one, the Nine of Swords, this one at first glance, it's a card of heartbreak. That seems to be the trend here. Excuse me. What I view, pardon me, if you hear any noise in the background, I'm upstairs in my room, and I wanted to use some natural light today. So I will try to do that as often as I can. I love the sun. I've said that in some of my other videos. So I wanted to get some light and to use some natural light. I am right near a window that is overlooking a busy street. So you'll hear some traffic. It's rush hour right now. So, anyway, the Nine of Swords, you could look at it as a card of just some more heartache. I had that card in one of my personal readings when I was using the Universal Weight deck recently. And what I took from it, what I gleaned from it, was the just the fact that you have experienced some major trauma, major emotional trauma, major heartache, etc. And it's all about it being behind you, putting it behind you, and now you're ready to start anew. With regard to this particular spread, this is how this seed will blossom in your life in the near future. You will put it behind you. You will. So we know that in order to get past it, we're using the Six of Swords, which is moving forward. We're in motion. We are moving onward and leaving that behind us, what no longer serves us. But with that Nine of Swords, it's talking about how that seed of the pain that we've experienced, because sometimes you need to live in that moment. Sometimes, in order to truly get over a situation, it's not about getting over it, like jumping over the situation and not experiencing it. A lot of times, it's about just fully allowing yourself to feel whatever it is that the spirit guides would like you to feel, whatever it is that you need to experience to make you better for it in the long run. And I assure you, I know personally, you will be better for it. It will strengthen your resolve. I promise you that. I really do. So, um, this is speaking specifically about how the seed that you've planted, how it will um, blossom in your life in the near future. You will move on. So we know that you need to move on. But this is a card that's a further confirmation that you actually will be able to move on from it. Okay. So the next one is spring cleaning, what we need to let go of. Okay. Judgment. Hey, yes. Yes to that all the way around. Let's let go of that judgment. That's pretty self explanatory. You can, however, that's speaking to you is what you need to take away from it. But letting go of judgment, that's it right there. Like, let it go. Let it go. This, we talk about, there's that cliche term, no judgment zone, but it really says a lot to actually do um, some self checking and to find out within yourself some areas that you need to let go of some judgment. We judge ourselves, we judge our loved ones, we judge the world, we judge other folk, like people who we feel, they're over there and I'm here, or I'm on this side of the tracks and they're on that side of the tracks. One thing that I have seen, as others have with this pandemic, is when there is a crisis going on of whatever magnitude, whether people feel like it's a conspiracy or it's an actual, like, very real and present threat to all of us. Either way, whichever lane you fall in, one thing that remains true for everyone is it has a way of putting us all in the same boat, literally, as far as access to resources, access to healthcare. Um, yeah, so it just has a way of leveling the playing ground. And so again, I'm not going to go too deep into that. I'll talk about that in the upcoming video. But let's let go of that judgment, okay? So the next one, this is the last card. This is spring growth. So this is actually what you need to embrace. And let me just make sure. Okay. So what we need to embrace, okay? Ooh, Five of Cups. So this one, I have recently learned about this card. Now, something that I know about the Five of Cups is just to dig into this one. And this one, and what I'll do actually for all of them before I wrap up, is to go into what the author, Lisa Sterle, her description of what all the cards represent, just to further kind of hone in on the tone for this particular spread for the spring renewal phase of this year, okay? So the Five of Cups, one thing that rings true is you see um, she had 5 cups, 3 of them have spilled, and there are 2 remaining. The 2 that are remaining upright are behind her. You see the gloomy sky. You see the look on her face, for lack of a better term, almost crying over spilled milk. So there's a look of um, just almost longing for what she has lost. Now, again, this is what to embrace. So I do want to tap into what the author wanted us to know about these. So let's take a look. So we will, well, before I do that, I just want to, let's see how I feel this is coming together. So the spring growth, what to embrace. I feel like this Five of Cups, it really speaks to what I was just saying, that you have to sometimes walk through and live through the moment of whatever type of trauma that you're dealing with. No, you definitely don't want to live there. You don't want to take up residence in a traumatic situation, a traumatic emotional space. You do want to move forward. You want to move onward from it. However, you need to feel whatever you're feeling. You need to actually allow yourself to feel it in order to heal from it. We don't heal from things by putting a band aid on it, by pretending that it's not happening. In the moment, it may feel like, okay, this is how I can actually sustain myself. But in order to actually heal from it, and to not allow it to be some type of perpetual nagging elephant in the room, if you will. We have to live through it. As painful as that is, you must go through the experience so that you can get past it and leave it behind you. That is how you do that. So the Five of Cups, what I see is someone who is actually living in the moment. And this is what we need to embrace, is living in that moment. Whatever that season is in your life, whatever pain or trauma you have been going through, that in order to get past it, you must um, live through it. And then you're able to move on from it and grow from it. Okay. So let's look at all of these very quickly. So that first one was the seed. That was the Three of Swords. Let's take a quick look at that. Now, um, the author is saying that the Three of Swords represents, okay, the Three of Swords represents, it says you're, okay, someone close to you has hurt you deeply, betrayed your trust, or has been deeply inconsiderate to you. You don't have to toughen up. It's okay to feel pretty shitty about the situation. It hurts. If you haven't experienced this pain, do a little soul searching and make sure you're not treating anyone else poorly. Okay, so it could go both ways. You may feel like you haven't had anything negative happen to you. You're not going through any type of pain in your life right now, any type of trauma. But just be sure that you're not the one dishing it out as well. That's actually a great perspective. Okay, so that's the seed, something that you've planted in hopes of growth. Is you're trying to lay it all on the line, lay it on all on the table. Like, this is what I'm dealing with right now. So it's a seed of hope that you could get on the other side of that. And I'm telling you, I know you can. So the next one was water. It was what you need to do to cultivate that seed of moving on from a situation. And the Six of Swords is saying you're going to need to make a difficult choice, one that might feel painful and almost impossible. And sometimes that's another thing. When we're dealing with something, and it's not necessarily a relationship, I mean, oftentimes it is a relationship, whether with our children, other loved ones, family members who are also loved ones, friends. Um, it could be a relationship with self. a lot of times old habits die hard. They really do. I mean, it's not, I know it's a lot of these catchphrases, it's just like, yeah, yeah, like here we go again. But a lot of them really ring true. So old habits really do die hard, and it may feel painful to let go. You may know this is, and again, I've been there before too. You may know, okay, this is what I need to do to get past it. But man, I mean, I'm gonna go through some growing pains to do that. I mean, you're trying to weigh your options, and it's a give and take. Well, these are the things that I will gain from making this choice. Maybe I'll gain some peace. I'll gain some emotional strength. I'll get my heart back. I'll get a little bit of joy in my life, or a lot of joy. But what will I be giving up? Will I be giving up some financial stability? Will I be giving up the fact that maybe I've been keeping things under wraps with the hopes that no one else on the outside looking in knows what I'm dealing with? And so if I have to make this change in my life, maybe that will let the cat out the bag. Maybe people will see, oh, wait, everything wasn't all it was cracked up to be. There's something else going on behind the scenes, whether we know what it is or not. Something happened. There's that. And I've been there before too. I'm telling you, I've been there before. Um, it's all about your own peace, though. It's all about your own peace. Okay. So there's that. That's the Six of Swords. And it says it's definitely going to be rough waters for a while. Your emotions may fight you, but logic tells you this is what you need to do. Be well as you walk forward into the unknown. I love that. Okay, so the next one, the Nine of Swords, that one's how it will blossom in your life in the near future. And we're losing a bit of sunlight, so I'm glad that we're about to wrap this up, okay? So this is how this will blossom in your life in the near future. The Nine of Swords. So the swords hang high above your head. You're wide awake at night. You can't sleep, so your mind is just consumed with anxiety, despair, and as an impending feeling of doom in your life. Maybe you're going through something truly terrible, or maybe you've been building up an obstacle to be larger than it really is. Either way, it's okay to feel scared or anxious. Talk about it with someone that you trust and try to look to the future. So again, the whole theme of this spread is about renewal. It's about moving past any type of trauma, any type of um, pardon the noise, any type of madness, chaos in your life, and just getting to the other side of it. And so that's what we're here for, is to make this connection and to elevate each other, boost each other up. Okay. So the Nine of Swords represents um, just further getting on and getting through a situation. Okay. So the fourth one was spring cleaning, what to let go of, and we were letting go of judgment. So again, I feel like that one's self-explanatory, but I would, since I am looking at the other ones in this guidebook, I would like to check out what the author would like us, of this deck would like us to um, gain knowledge from with regard to this particular one. So this one is the main theme is only through responding to the call can we become truly alive. It's not about judging others, but judging yourself. There are times to be kind to yourself, and then there are times for some tough love. Now is one of those times. There's an important change needed for you to reach new heights, but you're prepared. Your past self is behind you and the future calls. Examine yourself and your choices honestly. Is this the best you? Mm, that really speaks to me. Is this the best you? Not the best version of you, but the best you. You know yourself. We all know ourselves when we're um, by ourselves. For me, it was my commute back and forth when I dealt with something crazy in my life. It was my commute back and forth to work. That was when I had my alone time. There were no children in need of anything. My employer that I had at the time when I was still working with corporate America, They weren't calling or looking for anything. It was just me. It was just me. And you have to think, is that the best version of you? You may feel like you don't even know yourself anymore, but all you do know is this isn't it. This is not it. And so that's why we need to let go of, again, those things that no longer serve us. So let's go on and wrap this up. This is getting quite long here. So the Five of Cups, this is what to embrace. So let's take a look and see what to embrace. The Five of Cups is saying to us, something important has been lost and you're filled with soul crushing sadness and despair. Maybe a relationship has ended or you've been laid off work. Whatever it was has destroyed your hopes for the perfect future you had envisioned. It's okay to feel defeated and mourn. It is okay, I'm telling you. Sadness is part of the process. You'll start to feel hope again eventually. And there is more love waiting for you when you're ready. So that places a stamp on what I was saying. And um, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, there's so much more on the other side of this renewal period in our lives. I look forward to seeing what the cards have to say for us in the coming months and what they have to say for us um, just in the coming seasons of our lives. So, again, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Queen Elle from QueenElle79. Please feel free to check out my Instagram. It's still under wraps, but not under wraps. It's still under construction, but please feel free to check it out as I embark on this journey through just some evolution of sorts. And I'll touch on that in some future videos as well. If you need anything from me, any guidance, if you need to tap into anything, if you need to talk about anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Please don't. I'm here for you. And I'm not just saying that, I truly am. So thank you so much. I hope that you're able to take something away from this reading today. I hope that you just keep some peace amidst all the chaos. Be the eye of the storm. Be that still point in the center of it. When everything maddening is going on around you, that you're able to find a sense of peace. You're able to glean from the inner source as well as the spirit guides and our ancestors, and you're able to just stay true to who you are and continue to tap into your own intuition and not allow your own judgment to be clouded at all. So, again, I thank you. Be blessed.